Enjoy the story. The morning air bit through thin cotton sleeves as three small figures huddled together on the corner of Madison Avenue in New York City. Their cardboard box trembled against tiny knees, the handwritten sign propped against it, reading in shaky crayon letters, "Help Miss Eleanor. She needs her heart fixed." Emily's fingers, red from the cold, carefully arranged homemade chocolates wrapped in colorful tissue paper. Beside her, Caleb bounced on his toes, trying to stay warm, his breath forming small clouds in the crisp October air. The third child, Mia, stood silent and watchful, her dark eyes scanning the rushing pedestrians who seemed to look everywhere except down at them. The kindergartners had been at their post since dawn, long before their parents knew they were gone. They'd snuck out with pocket money saved from birthday gifts and the Halloween candy they'd wrapped themselves, driven by a love so pure it hurt to witness. Miss Eleanor Hayes, their beloved teacher, had collapsed in their classroom 2 weeks ago while reading them a story about friendship. The children knew only this: their teacher needed help and grown-ups weren't helping her fast enough. A businessman in a charcoal suit strode past, phone pressed to his ear. Emily stepped forward timidly. "Please, sir, one candy to help our—" "Teacher?" He didn't break stride. A jogger in expensive athletic wear swerved around them without acknowledgement. Caleb held up a chocolate, his voice breaking slightly. "They're really good. My mum helped me make them." But the woman kept running, earbuds firmly in place. The children's enthusiasm wasn't dampening yet, but their small bodies were beginning to show signs of fatigue. They'd been standing for nearly 3 hours, their mission feeling more impossible with each passing stranger. Miss Eleanor wasn't just their teacher. She was the one who tied their shoes when they forgot how, who sang silly songs to help them remember their letters, who always kept an extra sweater in her closet for whoever forgot theirs. Then, everything changed. A sleek black sedan pulled to the curb, and from its tinted window someone had been watching. Victor Langston, 48 and worth more than most small countries' GDP, stepped onto the sidewalk. His Italian leather shoes cost more than many families spent on groceries in a month, but as he approached the children, his eyes held something unexpected: recognition of their purpose. He crouched down, bringing himself to their eye level. His voice, usually commanding boardrooms, became gentle. "Who are you selling for?" Mia looked up, studying his face with the careful assessment children reserve for adults. "Our teacher, Miss Eleanor. She's in the hospital and doesn't have enough money for her operation." "She's the best teacher in the whole world," Emily added quickly, her words tumbling over each other. "She always helps us when we're sad, and she makes the best mac and cheese for lunch when kids forget their food." Caleb nodded enthusiastically, chocolate staining his small fingers as he gestured. "And she knows all our names, even the hard ones." Victor studied their sign, poorly spelled but radiating sincerity. He looked at their raw hands, their too thin jackets, their determined faces. "Have you eaten today?" he asked quietly. The silence that followed spoke volumes. 3 small heads shook almost imperceptibly. Rising to his full height, Victor felt something crack inside his chest, a wall he'd built around his heart through years of ruthless business dealings. "Come with me," he said, extending his hand. The children hesitated, looking at each other with the wordless communication of close friends. Finally, Mia nodded, and they gathered their box, following this stranger who felt somehow safe. The short walk to Le Bernardin felt like entering another universe. The maitre d's face shifted from disapproval to neutral professionalism when he recognized Victor. They were seated in a corner booth with plush velvet seats, the children's eyes wide as they absorbed the crystal glasses, white linens, and soft classical music. Victor ordered hot chocolate with real whipped cream, pancakes shaped like dinosaurs, fresh fruit, and warm croissants. As the children ate with the desperate hunger of those who'd forgotten their last meal, they talked about Miss Eleanor with the unfiltered adoration only 5-year-olds can muster. They described how she stayed late to help struggling readers, how she bought classroom supplies with her own money, how she'd once driven to Marcus's house when he was sick just to bring him the book they'd been reading together. "She says we're all her treasures," Emily whispered, syrup dripping from her fork. Victor felt each word like a physical blow. Here was a woman dedicating her life to molding young minds, and she was struggling alone. The system that could pay hedge fund managers millions while teachers scraped by seemed suddenly obscene in the face of these children's love. As they finished eating, Victor retrieved Miss Eleanor's location. By evening, he was at Mount Sinai Hospital, walking past security with the confidence that money and power afforded. He found her in a shared room, the curtain drawn around her narrow bed. She looked small and vulnerable, alone except for the steady beeping of monitors. She opened eyes that held exhaustion and fear, blinking at the tall stranger beside her. "Bed. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met." Victor sat in the uncomfortable visitor's chair, his expensive suit incongruous in the sterile setting. "No, we haven't, but your students and I have become acquainted. Emily, Caleb, and Mia spent their morning selling candy on Madison Avenue to help you." Tears spilled immediately, though she tried to contain them. "They what? Oh no, they shouldn't. Their parents must be—" Victor raised a gentle hand. "They love you. What they told me about you moved me more than any presentation I've heard in 20 years of business." He leaned forward, his voice steady and warm. "I own Preston Academy on the Upper East Side. We've been searching for an exceptional kindergarten director who embodies not just educational excellence but genuine compassion. The salary is $120,000 annually, with full medical benefits and a budget to create your ideal classroom." Miss Eleanor's mouth opened, but no sound came. Victor continued, "And your surgery? It's scheduled for tomorrow morning. My foundation is covering all costs, the procedure, recovery, everything. You'll never have to worry about medical bills again." The sobbing that followed came from a place deeper than gratitude. It was the sound of someone who'd carried impossible weight suddenly feeling it lift. 20 minutes later, she'd signed the contracts through tears of relief and joy. The next day, the children arrived at the hospital, carrying a poster covered in fingerprint art and crayon drawings. They waited in the surgical lounge with Victor, who paced like an expectant father. When the surgeon emerged hours later with news of complete success, the celebration echoed through 3 floors of the hospital. Recovery was swift. Miss Eleanor returned stronger, her heart literally and figuratively renewed. Moving to Preston Academy felt like entering a fairy tale. Her new classroom had floor-to-ceiling windows, reading nooks with mountain views, and enough supplies to last 3 years. The children visited often, now proud students in her new school. They called Victor Mr. Candyman, though he'd gifted them a permanent candy cart in the school lobby. Each visit, he felt more connected to something he'd lost in his climb to success, the simple power of human goodness. 6 months later, Miss Eleanor stood before her thriving classroom, 20 eager faces looking up at her. Her heart, once failing, now beat strong with purpose. She'd created reading programs for underprivileged children, art therapy sessions, and parent education workshops. Victor often stopped by unannounced, always welcomed with squeals of delight. The man who'd once measured success in stock prices now found his richest moments in crayon drawings labeled Mr. Candyman hanging in his office. Miss Eleanor, once abandoned by circumstances beyond her control, had not only survived but flourished. Her story spread through the city, not because of the millionaire who helped, but because 3 5-year-olds had shown the world what love in action looked like. Every Valentine's Day, Preston Academy now hosts Miss Eleanor's Day of Giving, where children sell homemade treats to raise money for teachers in need. The tradition has raised over $500,000, helping dozens of educators across the city. Congratulations. Type 7 in the comments so I know you stayed with me. Until the end, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. See you.